everyone, today I'm doing a talk through makeup tutorial. I posted on Twitter asking you guys whether you'd rather see like a full face beat face glam makeup tutorial or like a natural fresh face of makeup. And the fresh face won, but I don't care because I really just want to beat my face. Honestly, I thought you guys would want this more. But I guess not. But we're gonna do it anyway. So let's just go ahead and get started. Maybe I should put my hair up. Okay, so I am not this white in person. I'm looking in the little square thing on the side of my camera, and I look pasty, which is not an issue. But I'm not that tan right now. I haven't been to the beach in a little while because I've been super busy with school and work. Like literally, I have school and work Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends I study. So my face is really pale right now, and so is the rest of my body compared to how I usually am. But I'm going to be matching my foundation to my body, so don't worry. Did I even tell you guys what I'm using? I feel like I showed it to you, but I didn't tell you. I'm using the Benefit Professional Primer. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm breaking out on my chin. Actually, they're kind of going away, but I had 2 pimples right here. And they're going away now, but there's still red little dots, and I was breaking out on my chin, so like great. Next for foundation, I'm going to be using my favorite combination, which is the Too Faced Born This Way and then the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. So I mixed these together just so it matches my body better because this is too dark for me right now. I took 2 pumps of the Too Faced one, and I'm taking a little bit of the L'Oreal one, and I'm just mixing them on the back of my hand. This is like a full coverage foundation. That's what I like. So then I'm just going to take my damp beauty blender, and I'm blending out a very thin layer all over my face. I'm also just blending it into my hairline, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't have their foundation blended into their hairline, and you can just see, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to leave the rest of the foundation on the back of my hand. I'm not wiping it off right now because I use this to sculpt out my eyebrows, so I'm just going to leave that there. So if you see it on the back of my hand and you're kind of grossed out. Next, I'm going to move on to concealer. I'm going to be using both of these concealers together. First, I'm going to take my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Medium Neutral. And I'm just going to apply this all underneath my eyes. This basically matches me right now. It's maybe like half a shade lighter than my foundation. So sometimes I use this for days that I want a more natural highlight. Like I don't really want an intense highlight, I just want to cover up my dark circles. And then I'm going to be taking my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Custard, and this is really light, so what I'm going to be doing is just taking a very small amount of this under my eyes like this. I don't think I've ever tried the combination of these two together, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not applying this anywhere else to the center of my face because I don't feel like it. And I'm just going to blend this out with my beauty blender. I love the consistency of both these concealers, but I do think the Urban Decay one blends out a little bit easier than the NARS one. So maybe if I use them together, who knows? So I think that looks great, and next I'm just going to take my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm using my beauty blender to apply this wherever I applied my concealer, and I'm just going to bake those areas. This is like my holy grail powder. I already bought a backup of it, like just for when I run out, but I'm not even almost done with this one. I just need it just in case, because the only thing that I'm having an issue with is this one. This whole thing broke off, so I can't really twist the lid back on it. I just sort of place it on there and hope for the best. Other than that, this is the best powder that I've ever tried in my life. So once I get to this point where I look crazy. I'm just gonna leave it to bake on my face for a few minutes. It's 1:49 right now, so I'll probably wipe it away at like 1:53. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so I've let this sit on my face for a few minutes, and now I'm just gonna take another powder to set the rest of my face and to dust away this loose powder. Recently, I've been using my Too Faced Cocoa Powder Foundation. Mine's in the shade Tan, and obviously I love this stuff a lot. I've got a backup of this as well because this is an amazing powder. It's matte and it keeps my foundation like lasting all day, whatever, you know. The only thing is, since I'm not this tan right now, it's a little bit too dark. As I get tanner, my skin tone like gets a little bit more warm, and as I lose my tan, it's a little bit more yellow. So I want to use my Makeup Forever Pro Finish foundation or powder foundation today in the shade 168 because I'm going to show you guys. The undertones are really different. This is more yellowy and this is more warm. So I'm going to be using this one today. I'm just using a Real Techniques powder brush to apply a very light amount of this. The finishes of these two powders are very similar. They're both full coverage powder foundations, like medium to full coverage I would say. So when I use them, I use a small amount just because it is a powder foundation. So it can really add a lot of coverage if you want it to. Also, the finishes of both of them are kind of like matte. This one is for sure matte, the Too Faced one. I feel like this is more of like a semi-matte finish. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to move on to bronzer and contour. I'm taking my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deepest. I'm using a MAC 187 brush. This is just a stippling brush. And I'm applying this to the hollows of my cheeks, but I'm blending it upwards, almost on my cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just where I like to apply my bronzer. Okay, so as I was doing my bronzer, my battery died, but I think you guys saw basically what I was doing. I just applied it to my cheeks, my forehead, and a little bit on my jawline, and I literally have not done anything else to my face. I had to charge my battery, and as my battery was charging, I decided to do my eyebrows because I usually do them off camera anyways, so I was just trying to like... So literally, last thing you guys saw was me putting on my bronzer, and that's literally it. The only thing I did after that was my eyebrows, but like I said, I would have done that off camera anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish my face because, you know, I like to contour with my, I was about to say Urban Decay, my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I'm going to be taking the darkest shade with this Real Techniques brush, and I'm just dabbing my brush in there a little bit, and I'm using this to carve out my cheekbones. And I'm blending this up onto my temples. I don't bring this all the way in on my forehead, I just bring it on my temples and my cheekbones, or like whatever this area is. If you guys are wondering what I've been using on my eyebrows, I use my Anastasia Brow Definer in the shade Caramel, and I use my L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer in the shade Brunette. And then I also use this L'Oreal eyebrow gel. This is in the shade Light to Medium, and that's all I use for my brows. Then I'm taking this e.l.f. Small stippling brush, and I'm taking the lightest shade in the palette, and I'm using this to lightly contour my nose. I just go on the sides of my nose and the tip right here. And then taking a little bit more and going right underneath my bottom lip. This is the time that I would go and do my brows after I finish my face completely, but like I said, I already did that. So moving on to eyes, I applied my foundation over my eyes as I was doing my foundation, and that's what I use as my eyeshadow base, or that's what I've been using as my eyeshadow base recently. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the eyeshadows. Not really sure what I'm doing, what I want to do, what I want this to look like. Whoops. I I just know I want it to be dramatic. So I'm going to start off by taking Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek, and I'm just going to apply this all over my eyelids up to my brow bone. I'm going to take this Lorac Unzipped palette, and I'm going to be using the shade Unconditional, which is this like mauve-y color, and I'm just using an Anastasia brush to apply this to the outer corners of my eyes, into my crease, and that's going to be the first step right now. I love this palette. I have the Unzipped Gold one also. I just love the eyeshadows. They're very creamy and blendable and pigmented, and I love them. So once I have it like that, I'm just going to take this end of the brush, which is just smaller and compact, and I'm going to take the same shade and I'm just applying it to the inner half of my eyelid. Not the inner half, like the inner third, and connecting that to the crease. I want to do like a halo eye. So then I'm going to take Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek, and I'm just going to go right over top of that eyeshadow that I just applied. I'm just using the same brush. Next, I'm just going to move on to this lid shade. If you hear that noise, I think that's my garage. So, what I'm going to do is... Okay, first I'm going to take this Jordana Made to Last liquid eyeshadow, and this one's in the shade Forever Sand. And what I'm doing is just applying a little bit of this on the back of my hand, as you can see. This is just going to act as a base. I'm just going to be using my finger to apply this on my lid. You can see it's pretty pigmented. So for the pigment, I changed my mind. I was originally going to use like a darker color, but I'm going to be using, I have this like thing from MAC. It's a collection, so I don't think that they have this pigment anymore, but any light tan champagne color pigment will work. I just want to use this one because I haven't used it in a while, and this one is in the shade Silk Stocking, and I'll swatch it on my hand so you guys can see what it looks like. I don't know if you can really see, but it's just, you know, pretty. And I'm going to be taking a MAC 213 brush, spraying some Fix Plus on there, taking this pigment, and I'm going to apply it right on top of that color that I just put on. Taking the shade from the palette with this brush is just a darker color, and I'm applying it to the outer corners of my eyes. This is an e.l.f. brush, by the way. Some e.l.f. brushes really do it for me. Then I'm going to take this Satin Anastasia brush again and use it to really blend it into the center lid shade, and also use that on the inner corners. Then I'm just going to take my MAC brush again and spray some more Fix Plus on it, and I'm going to take this Stila eyeshadow in the shade Kitten. I'll swatch it next to the MAC shade just so you can see the difference. It's a little bit more pink, and I'm just going to focus this on the center. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Cocoa Bear, and I'm using this like right underneath my lash line. I'm going to take that Stila eyeshadow in Kitten So I'm gonna go ahead and do some winged eyeliner because we really want to be intense, don't you know? And for that, I'm using my NYC liquid liner, and I'm just gonna speed through this. I will film it, me doing this, but I'm not gonna be talking. I'm just gonna speed through this. Okay, so that's my eyeliner. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some false lashes. I'm gonna be using these number 601s from Ardell. I'm just using some black lash glue. And I'm gonna go ahead and apply these off camera. Okay, so I actually decided to use different lashes. I didn't use the 601s. I used the Ardell double wispies because I felt like being more dramatic. So that's it for my eyes. Lastly, I'm just gonna move on to my lips. There's a little bit of foundation on my lips, but I'm just gonna ignore it and go right over top. Recently, I've been using lip gloss instead of lipstick, and that's just what I'm gonna do today also. First, I'm gonna take this Milani Brand Shine lip gloss in the shade Bare Secret. And I love this. I really like the applicators on these. This color is so pretty. And I'm just gonna apply this all over my lips. Okay, so next I'm just going to take a clear gloss. This one is L'Oreal. This is by L'Oreal. It's just a clear gloss. And what I'm going to do is just take a little bit on my finger. And I'm just kind of applying this to the center of my lips. And this clear one just adds so much shine. I love it. Okay, so now I'm officially done. This is what it all looks like. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.